Devising exercise number 3. Bridging.
Okay, so the bridge is a devising exercise that Mess at the Mess uses pretty much in every single devising process that we have as a way of the group really exploring from their own perspective what the theme that they have identified means to them. So the starting point for the bridge is having a theme or maybe a production, but an agreed starting point that everybody has got knowledge or experience of within the room. And what I would do is I'd ask everybody in the group to find their own space on their own. And I will play some music that I think everybody would be able to respond to or would have interesting, that would evoke a strong response in the participants. So everybody's working on their own in this space. And they have as much time as they need as an individual to come up with 3 to 6 repeatable movements, and their own essentially movement motif. And you can say to the group, you can be really abstract in your response if you want to. If you just want to go with the feelings of that and then show us those feelings with your body, then do that. But if you want to do something much more naturalistic, as in something that somebody might actually do in everyday life linked to that theme, then that is absolutely fine. But essentially they work on their own, they get told that they need to be able to repeat them exactly the same over and over again. What I normally ask everybody to do is when they have finished and they feel confident that they've got something, just to then sit totally still so that I know that everybody in the group has then finished. So what comes next is we pair people up. So everybody in the group has a partner, and then they get told very clearly that what they've now got to do is bridge their movement sequence with their partner's movement sequence. So they're asked to show each other their work, and then they're told that everybody's movements has to be in this new bridged version of the sequences. But they don't have to just do the whole of person A's followed by the whole of person B's, with them both performing exactly the same thing at the same time. Person A could do person B's followed by their own, and the other partner could do the opposite. Or they could create a sequence where they both start with a bit of the first person's, then they go to a bit of the second person's, then they go back to a bit of the first person's. It absolutely doesn't matter, but what is imperative is that everybody performs every single bit of their own movement and every single bit of their partner's movement. So you check, okay, nobody's moving around the room now, that's brilliant, everybody's ready. They then are potentially maybe starting to feel a bit anxious or excited about sharing about their work. And then you drop the news that what they've now got to do is find another partnership and start that process all over again. So one pair show the other pair their work, the other pair show it to them, and you say you need to bridge that together, and it's exactly the same rules. Everybody's original work has to end up in the piece, but you can chop it, like in film editing, however you want. So everything can be pieced together in totally original choreography. It doesn't have to look anything like it did originally, but all of those ideas have to be in. Again, you look around the room, you see that everybody's completed this task. People very much at this point feel that they must have finished, that is the end of the task. And then you drop the bombshell again, that they have to combine with another group. At the World of Mess at the Mess, we've done this with up to about 24 participants. And it is quite a big process then to piece all of the work together. But the huge sense of achievement that a group gets once they've managed to bridge every single one of their ideas together and create a whole movement sequence inspired by their individual ideas of this game, we believe, is one of the most inclusive exercises you could ever come up with, because whereas teamwork is really important, and in teamwork you have leaders and you have followers and you have people that are happy to switch between those roles, and there are some brilliant people who are very good at going, oh, but what do you think? Yes, I thought that, but have you considered using this idea? Or maybe we should do what Nia just said. Those conversations are really, really important and valid. But in the early days of exploring a theme, is there anything more powerful than saying every single person's ideas in this room have been included? Everybody has been heard. You haven't got to speak up, because the whole exercise starts with you putting your ideas in, and then the next person has to say yes to them. So this is the ultimate piece of teamwork for Mess Up the Mess. It means that from the very beginning, everybody's thoughts around that theme or that production or that world have been included from the outset. You can adapt this exercise in the way that I've said about many other Mess Up the Mess exercises. One way to adapt it is to check with the group, and as you get to know that group, say to them with each and every exercise, we're going to do this. Does that work for you? Do we need to do anything to make it safe? So, for example, when we were doing this task at the Theatre as Inclusive Practice residential with the participants from the other countries and the other groups that we were working with, one of the key things that we added into this exercise was audio description. It was important that people could audio describe what they were doing to teach it to their other group members.
Computers. 3 of them are on computers, and now they've switched. So 3 people having clock arms, and then some of them are on computers, and they're reaching out.
And also so that the audiences could appreciate what it was that they were listening to or hearing, if they were visually impaired and not able to see the full outcome of their work. People definitely take out of this a sense of achievement. The group bonding when you've achieved a full bridge is massive. It's incredibly satisfying because you've actually made a piece of theatre that you could perform in front of an audience at the end of this exercise. Everybody knows that they have been heard, and it also introduces participants to a non-naturalistic approach to exploring a theme or exploring a script, which is really, really inclusive, because not everybody enjoys big, long discussions about what something's really about. There are people that love that stuff. There's people that love reading texts and analysing texts, but this is quite an instantaneous response. It's kind of like a guttural, what does this mean to me? And everybody in the room has said yes to what this means to me if you take part in this exercise. So I think nothing could devalue that in itself. Everybody's heard my idea and they think it's so good that they've all performed my ideas as well as theirs. It's really, really powerful.